On. Saw some different gas prices, let me tell you.
Prices the highest on the coasts. So here's how to save. Tip number 1, hit up a wholesale store. Places like Walmart and Sam's Club and grocery stores like Kroger offer discounted gas, though you might have to wait a while for it. Cars backed up waiting for gas at this Costco in Tampa. Tip number 2, check out loyalty programs. Discounts from places like Shell Fuel Rewards and Kroger Fuel Points can be stacked on savings from a gas payment card. Next, make sure you've got apps to track down the best prices in your area, whether it's Gas Buddy, AAA, or Gas Guru, which lets you filter by the price of the gas, the fuel grade, and the distance. Next tip, pay in cash at the pump if you can. You can save 5 to 10 cents a gallon when you pay in cash. And finally, when it comes to your actual driving,
I want to go fast.
Easy does it. AAA says reducing highway speeds by 5 to 10 miles per hour can increase fuel economy by as much as 14%. According to Gas Buddy, the best day of the week to save money at the pump is Monday, which has the lowest average gas prices in most of the country. And which days should you avoid heading to the pump? Thursday has the highest prices, followed by Wednesday. Mona, Andrew.
All right, Will, I know drivers must be thankful for that story.
And that's what's making news in America.
Right now on America This Morning, the new warning about the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Ukraine. Civilians trapped with no food, water, or power. And now what the Pentagon fears could be Putin's next move. Plus, our exclusive one-on-one with Ukrainian President Zelensky, his message to America This Morning.
Gas prices soaring to new records, the fastest increase on record. The state seeing the sharpest increase in prices at the pump and the new prediction about the coming weeks. Plus, the message this morning to anyone booking travel for the spring and summer.
The new research on how COVID-19 affects the brain, what scientists have found, even in patients who experience only mild illness from the virus.
Caught on video, the dangerous and deadly rescue mission high up on Oregon's Mount Hood.
The NFL star suspended for an entire season for gambling on games, how he was caught.
And later, the classic late-night snack suddenly the subject of controversy.
From ABC News in New York, this is America This Morning.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. We begin with the growing crisis inside Ukraine. Civilians trapped with no food, water, or electricity.
And the Pentagon confirms 100% of Russia's invading forces are now inside the country. There are growing concerns that the conflict could spill across the Polish border, with Russian military forces potentially taking aim at the supply of foreign weapons being delivered to Ukraine.
Russia's latest promise of a temporary ceasefire for civilians to evacuate is being met with skepticism. The UN says that more than 400 civilians have been killed so far, but that number is likely much higher. At this hour, the situation growing more dire for Ukrainians trying to escape. The Ukrainian government now warning of a humanitarian catastrophe north of the capital, Kyiv, where authorities say up to 100,000 people may be trapped. Some have already survived 7 days without water or electricity. Across Ukraine, civilians are being driven from their homes as Russian forces hit schools, apartment buildings, and businesses. An estimated 2 million people have fled the country, about 800,000 of them children. Many of them now heading to the western city of Lviv, where the mayor says the city is struggling to feed and house tens of thousands of people, saying, quote, "We really need support." ABC's Matt Gutman visited a local orphanage, now home to more than 500 children who escaped from the besieged cities.
They don't know what war is, we're told here, but they know that something is wrong. They know they're not where they used to be.
And now growing fears that Russia could target the flow of foreign weapons being delivered to Ukrainian forces. A senior U.S. official tells ABC News there are strong indications that Russia may attack supply chains, possibly even targeting a convoy of weapons inside Poland before it reaches Ukraine.
That would be World War III significant. Quite frankly, as a member of NATO since 1999, that would be an attack on the entire alliance. That's a game changer.
The Biden administration is urging Poland and Eastern European countries to give their Soviet-era fighter jets to Ukraine because Ukrainian pilots are already trained on those jets. The White House also considering ways to replenish Poland's air force. But there are many logistical challenges in the way.
Should there be a nation that would want to give aircraft to the Ukrainians and would ask for a backfill from the United States, should that happen, what would that look like? How would we do that?
Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky speaking to ABC News from his office in Kyiv with a message to the people in the United States.
What to say to Americans, I just want you to feel and to understand what does it mean for us freedom. We are not far from you. We are not far from you. And that's why, Americans, if you see and if you understand how we feel life, how we fight against all the enemies for our freedom, support us. Support us, and not only with words, with concrete, direct steps. Do it, and I think we'll win.
The Ukrainian and Russian foreign ministers have agreed to meet Thursday, the highest level talks since the invasion.
The Pentagon is sending 500 more troops to Europe. That's separate from soldiers who took off from Fort Hood yesterday. They're part of the 7,000 service members already scheduled to bolster NATO's eastern flank. And in Kentucky, family members helped send off 300 soldiers, also heading to Europe.
I'm very proud. It's a wonderful experience to know that we're part of something like this. So for us, we're just looking forward, taking it day by day, like I said, staying strong for the kids.
It's not yet clear how long those soldiers will be deployed.
Gas prices are climbing faster than ever before, and now experts are warning drivers to prepare for an even bigger price increase. The higher fuel prices are also taking a toll on the travel industry. ABC's Em Nguyen is live now with the very latest. Em, good morning.
Good morning, Mona. Drivers are now bracing for gas prices to reach an all-time high with no relief in sight. This morning, the average price for gas in America quickly surging past $4 a gallon. Prices rising 49 cents in the last week as the war in Ukraine escalates. The states with the largest increases include Rhode Island, Nevada, Connecticut, Kentucky, and Alabama. And experts say the national average could jump by another 50 cents in the coming weeks.
Gas prices in the very short term probably will continue inching up slowly. But much of what we saw over the weekend were some very large increases. That is likely to be toned down this week.
The price of oil hit $130 a barrel Monday. A senior U.S. official tells ABC News that price could reach $170 by the end of the week, as the U.S. and other countries discuss possibly restricting Russian oil imports, something President Biden has been reluctant to do so far.
We are continuing to take steps to deliver punishing economic consequences on Putin, while taking all action necessary to limit the impact to prices at the gas pump.
But now there's growing bipartisan support in Congress for a bill banning Russian energy products. The House could vote as soon as today.
I think this would be a veto-proof majority in the House. I'm hopeful the same in the Senate, mainly because Republicans and Democrats in both the House and Senate worked through the weekend really constructively on this bill.
President Biden is facing backlash after administration officials traveled to Venezuela to discuss energy security. New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez saying in a statement, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is a cancer to our hemisphere, and we should not breathe new life into his reign of torture and murder. Republican Senator Rick Scott called discussions about Venezuelan oil disgusting. Meanwhile, the travel industry is also bracing because higher gas prices means more expensive airfare. Experts say if you're planning on traveling, book your flights soon. And if you have any points or vouchers, consider using them. Mona?
Thank you.
We're learning more about a shooting outside a high school in Des Moines, Iowa. A 15-year-old boy was killed and 2 female students are in critical condition. Police say bullets came flying out of a car. Police detained some suspects, but no arrests have been made.
2 new studies are suggesting a link between even mild cases of COVID-19 and brain damage. One study found that smaller brain size and tissue damage in older people infected with COVID. Researchers also found damaged neurons. The patients were unvaccinated. The findings could explain the cognitive decline in some COVID survivors.
The name Emmett Till will live on in a federal law that will make lynching a hate crime. The Senate passed the measure Monday, and President Biden is expected to sign it into law. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act is named after the black teen murdered in Mississippi in 1955.
In Oregon, 1 climber has died and 1 is badly injured after falling 200 feet on Mount Hood. Rescuers spent a grueling 2 days trying to reach the climbers. They were delayed by the threat of avalanches and high winds.
And time now for a look at your Tuesday weather. A fast-moving storm system moved quickly across the Northeast overnight. Its powerful winds taking down trees and power lines. At one point, more than 240,000 customers were without power across the region. On the radar, rain moves into the southeast today, and a new storm system heads into the northwest, bringing rain to coastal areas and up to 2 feet of snow for the mountains. Checking today's high temperatures, 60s in the southwest and much colder today from the Rockies to New England, 83 though in Miami.
Coming up, why Bill Cosby's legal fight isn't over yet, even after a Supreme Court decision.
But first, how a police officer put herself directly in harm's way to prevent a tragedy.
And the potential new charges in the case against a mother charged with faking her own kidnapping to spend time with her ex-boyfriend.
Good morning. Great to have you streaming with us on a Tuesday. I'm Will Gans. America This Morning will be right back. But first, here's today's 2 extra minutes of news just for you that we couldn't squeeze into the show. We begin with the trial of the 4 men who were accused of conspiring to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer, set to begin today in Michigan. They're accused of working on the scheme over several months, including secretly messaging one another, holding gun drills in the woods, and taking a night drive to northern Michigan to scout her second home and figure out how to blow up a bridge. Jury selection will get underway later today in Grand Rapids. Next, to public school teachers in the Twin Cities reaching a split decision this morning. In Minneapolis, teachers are going on strike today after failing to reach a deal with the city's school district. The main sticking points are wages, class sizes, and mental health support for students. The teachers union in St. Paul reached a tentative agreement last night averting a strike. That deal must still be approved by union members. Now to the New York Times takeover of Wordle, which has apparently sparked a trend: cheating. A study found online searches for the game have jumped nearly 200% in the past 5 weeks, and that number is expected to grow. That same study also called out the worst cheaters by state. Topping the list, New Hampshire residents looking up the word swill. Rhode Island and Vermont tied for second place. Rhode Islanders looked up C-A-U-L-K. I remember how hard that word was. And in Vermont, the word was tacit, T-A-C-I-T. Another tough one. Finally, here's one way to pass time in a traffic jam. Dylan Hayes grabbing his fishing rod, dropping a line into the Colorado River beneath a bridge on I-70 near Glenwood Springs. He managed to catch a trout just fantastic. Well, I'm Will Gans. Thanks for streaming with us. More ATM coming up.
Back now with an officer in Florida placing herself in harm's way, deliberately causing this crash to stop an alleged drunk driver. Police say she prevented the driver from speeding through the route of a nearby road race that included thousands of runners. She and the suspect suffered serious injuries.
That's hard to watch. Okay, the Supreme Court will not review the ruling that freed Bill Cosby. The justices have rejected a bid to reinstate the 84-year-old actor's sexual assault conviction. It was overturned back in June after he spent nearly 3 years in prison because a former prosecutor had promised Cosby that he would not be charged. But Cosby's legal troubles are not yet over. He's facing a civil trial in Los Angeles this May.
The California woman accused of staging her own kidnapping so she could spend time with her ex-boyfriend is preparing to face a judge today. And now we're learning more charges could be coming in this case. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
A Northern California mom faces a judge today, charged with faking her own kidnapping for 3 weeks back in 2016, triggering a massive search.
It is a case of calculated deception, driven, I think, by her narcissistic behavior.
Sherry Papini turned up battered and branded, claiming she'd been abducted by 2 Hispanic women while out running in Redding, California. She claimed she had been emotionally tortured, beaten, and drugged. Her husband, Keith, spoke after they were reunited at the hospital.
In her poor face, I got nauseated just looking at her. It's so hard for me to see her like that.
But last week, a 5-year investigation led to Papini's arrest. Authorities saying her injuries were self-inflicted and that she had run away to stay with her ex-boyfriend. And now the sheriff says more people could be charged.
I certainly wouldn't be surprised because she didn't pull it off by herself and there's other people involved.
Today, the judge is expected to decide whether Papini is eligible for bail. Authorities call her a flight risk, but her family insists Papini has cooperated with investigators. If convicted of the charges, which include making false statements and mail fraud, she faces up to 25 years in prison.
You have a story of a typical American mom who was just abducted by what seemingly is a cartel type of human trafficking operation, which is just not true.
Also at issue is thousands of dollars that was raised during the search, some of which has allegedly been used by Papini and her husband to pay off credit cards and other expenses, although no charges have been filed for that money. Mona, Andrew?
Rhiannon, thank you. And coming up, the dramatic video as a baby is rescued from a burning building.
Also ahead, the NFL star suspended for gambling on games. The questions being raised as sports betting explodes in popularity.
Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
We love what we do.
Times are tough, but healing animals actually helps heal the community.
Thank you so much.
Representation matters. Kids see us and they say, I can do that. You want to be a veterinarian one day?
Yes.
That is awesome.
You ready to be a critter fixer? What you think, bud? Have you ever touched a cow? We can do this as best friends. We're going to get any better than that.
We're healing with feelings.
I'm Dr. Bernard Hodges.
And I'm Dr. Terrence Ferguson.
And we're the Critter Fixers.
Critter Fixers, new season Saturday, March 26th at 9 on Nat Geo Wild.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new Hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
The hottest news in daytime are happening right here.
We talk about things on this show that people don't talk about. That I can't wait to see.
Honest takes from strong women.
We need all hands on deck, and we need it right now. This is the time to speak out.
Unafraid to get real.
We stick by our points of view.
We're all seeing it differently, and that's the beauty of The View.
And that's why the most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
Now streaming on ABC News Live. 2020. True crime. Cinematic. Real-life drama. Stunning. The unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
A New Jersey father got some life-saving help from first responders. He dropped his 3-year-old son from the 2nd floor of this burning building into the arms of emergency workers. The dad then lowered himself to safety.
WNBA star Brittany Griner's friends and family are speaking out. Griner was detained in Russia after airport authorities allegedly found vape cartridges with cannabis oil in her bag. There are fears that she's being used as a pawn by Vladimir Putin. Another player who was in Russia during the offseason is praying for Griner's return.
My mom wasn't able to sleep until I got home. So I couldn't imagine her family's feeling, her friends, her loved ones. So I know it's not a situation she wants to be in, and I know that everyone's going to try to make the best plan to get her back home safely.
Other WNBA players who were in Russia are now home.
Now to pro football, and the star player busted for gambling. This morning, star wide receiver Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons is sidelined for the entire 2022 season after betting on NFL games. The league saying Ridley gambled on games last year, including Falcons games, placing bets through his mobile device while he was away from the team. He was on leave at the time to address his mental health.
The NFL believes it has found enough evidence to determine that during a 5-day span in November, Ridley bet on football games, and the league conducted an investigation and concluded that there was enough evidence to make Calvin Ridley the latest player suspended indefinitely for betting on football games.
The 27-year-old reacting on Twitter saying, "I know I was wrong, but I'm getting 1 year," adding, "I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem." That $1,500 bet will cost him $11 million in salary next year. Ridley is the second player suspended for gambling on NFL games since 2018, when a Supreme Court ruling paved the way for states to authorize sports betting, triggering a betting boom across America. Gambling revenue hit a record $53 billion last year. Even the NFL, after decades of opposition to sports wagering, has now partnered with major sports books, DraftKings, FanDuel, and Caesars, making it all the more important to draw a line between the action on the field and the temptation of big money wins. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell writing in a letter to Ridley, "Your actions put the integrity of the game at risk, threaten to damage public confidence in professional football, and potentially undermine the reputations of your fellow players." ESPN reports the NFL learned of Ridley's bets through the league's relationships with sports betting outlets.
And coming up, a late-night snack that's the subject of some controversy.
Also ahead, a history-making night for country music.
The hottest news in daytime are happening right here.
We talk about things on this show that people don't talk about.
That I can't wait to see. Honest takes from strong women.
We need all hands on deck, and we need it right now. This is the time to speak out.
Unafraid to get real.
We stick by our points of view.
We're all seeing it differently, and that's the beauty of The View.
And that's why the most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
This week, mornings are on fire at GMA. And tomorrow, we're counting down to Oscar with Best Actress nominee Penelope Cruz. Then Sandra Oh and Gabrielle Union, all only on Good Morning America. Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new video.
Breaking news overnight.
Your money and concerns about inflation.
The pandemic is not over.
The stories people are talking about.
You want to shake your legs? Don't. I was gonna say. And what to expect in the day ahead.
From the top of the world, baby! ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Weekday morning starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
Yeah. So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do? I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 12 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show. Ready for a little GMA promo? Okay, here we go. GMA 7A every day with Robin, George, and Michael. That's how you start the day. Boom.
Time to check the pulse, and we begin with a history-making night for country music.
The ACM Awards marked the first time an awards show was shown exclusively on a streaming service. Probably won't be the last, though. Dolly Parton, Jimmy Allen, and Gabby Barrett hosted the show from Las Vegas. There were 22 performances, including this performance from Kelly Clarkson, honoring Dolly Parton with her song, I Will Always Love You. Kelly still got it. All right, Album of the Year went to Morgan Wallen. He was barred from attending last year's awards after using a racial slur.
Miranda Lambert took home the night's top prize, Entertainer of the Year.
All right, next, a controversy surrounding a late-night snack.
Okay, so poutine, not Putin, is a combination of French fries, cheese curds, and gravy, but the Russian president's name is translated as poutine in French. A restaurant named House of Poutine in France is now receiving threats and insults over the name.
Okay, so some restaurants are now changing the dish's name, including the restaurant in Quebec that invented it.
Sounds like a Canadian problem. All right, well, next, the bat that interrupted the Batman.
Moviegoers in Austin, Texas might as well have been a part of the Batcave because someone released a real bat inside the theater during the movie. Employees unsuccessfully tried to remove it. And finally, for the second consecutive day, a wild ending in college basketball.
It was during the final of the Southern Conference men's tournament.
Jean-Baptiste with one. He's it for the win. Oh! Chattanooga with a game-winning shot in overtime and a shot he will never forget.
It's March and that's madness. The Mocs beat Furman 64-63.
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news, free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion. The ending's really tough.
You don't know when the truth is going to be difficult to find, unless you try to find it.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, What You Need to Know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do they capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Checking the top stories, Russia is offering safe passage to Ukrainians, hoping to escape several cities. But many are skeptical after Russian forces violated earlier ceasefire deals and took aim at civilians.